you walk a dog, it should be natural. You're not treasure hunting. You're not on the back of a jet ski. Yeah? You're not surrendering, so your arm shouldn't be up here. You're not riding a bike, and you're not gearing up for war. Your arm stays by your side, short but relaxed, stay there, man. And the dog follows you. If the dog slows down, you speed up. Then you return to normal pace. If the dog speeds up, you slow down. If the dog cuts into you, you don't keep moving over, you actually move back into the dog. Parents, stop letting your children do this to dogs. Although the dog might tolerate it, it doesn't mean it's actually enjoying it. And this can be seen as a very threatening act. Now, if the dog was to turn around and freak out and snap, it's going to get your child in the face. There are so many better ways to interact with a dog. If they want to have a little cuddle with the dog, okay, then you do it this way. Clive, come here. Invite the dog on the sofa and then have a little cuddle. They can lean into you, they can put their head on your lap. This is all fine. But this is just not safe. It's just not worth the risk. I know, you don't like that, do you? There we go. See? One thing that reactive dogs struggle to do is sniff when they're in the vicinity of something that makes them uncomfortable. They just fixate on what makes them uncomfortable and they react. In order to help that dog relax, it needs to use its nose more. One of the things we do with these dogs is we teach what we call the sniff command. What we do is we say sniff and we throw some of their treats on the floor. Sniff, throw some of their treats on the floor. We do this in the garden, we do this on walks when there's no dogs around, so the dog starts to understand sniff means start to search for something. We can then use this to our advantage when we see a dog. Before the dog gets to the stage of reacting, we can say sniff and we can throw some treats on the floor. All dogs are food motivated. Most dogs are simply full though, because you feed them from a bowl twice a day, 3 times a day. So the dog is full. If your dog isn't food motivated, take the dog's daily food allowance, stop using a treat pouch, stop using a bowl, put that food in a treat pouch and make them work for that. Very quickly their food drive will come out. Hello baby, hello, have you missed me? Watch again. How we doing, guys? Did you know that coming into the house straight away and acknowledging your dog can actually be setting your dog up for failure down the road? Just wait an extra few minutes when you come in the house before acknowledging your dog. Hello baby, hello, have you missed me? The reason you ignore your dog when you first come home is because your dog's already excited. Now, if you then greet your dog with excitement, it'll often cause a dog to jump up, start mouthing, things like this. Lots of unwanted behaviour. Now, you might not mind that with you, but you set the tone. So if the dog can do it to you, it can definitely do it to a child. It can definitely do it to your grandma, granddad. It can definitely do it to strangers. And that's when you want to scold the dog, and that's not fair. The other thing is, if you teach a dog excitement is what gets them greeted, they can display this with other dogs and quickly get themselves in trouble. Dogs need to be calm before they're greeted. The other thing is, it's your family, yeah? Don't create conflict between your family by coming home saying hello to the dog before your kids or before your partner. This is how possessiveness is created in dogs. All you have to do is come home, wait a few minutes, put your bags down, give your wife a cuddle, give your kids a cuddle, then say hello to your dog. That's it. Growling is communication, so you have to ask yourself, what is your Rottweiler trying to tell you? Why is it growling at the younger one? What is the younger dog doing at that moment in time that is making your Rottweiler growl? So my 12-year-old Staffy, for example, is completely balanced, right? She knows how to behave around dogs. She knows how to behave in high-pressure situations, right? If she growls, right, I don't have a go at her. I actually thank her. Thank you for letting me know that you're uncomfortable by something. And then I take control of what is making her uncomfortable. If it's a pushy, rude dog or something along those lines. So is your younger one being too pushy? Is your younger one trying to take what your other Rottweiler's got? Is your younger one trying to pester your dog? Be thankful that your older Rottweiler is growling and letting you know. The quickest way for you to up your dog is to let it off the lead and let it run over to every dog it sees. There's a thing called a single learning negative experience, which can completely change your dog's personality. This means if your dog runs over to the wrong dog and it gets mugged, your dog can completely change its personality, can become defensive, nervous, fearful, neurotic around other dogs because you thought it was a good idea to let your dog run over to a complete stranger. This is how accidents happen. There's nothing wrong with letting two dogs play as long as you know that dog, as long as you know how to separate a dog fight, as long as your dog is under control and you know that dog is under control. But playing Russian roulette and letting your dog run over to a strange dog, hoping everything's always going to work out well, this is how disaster happens. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but the reality is dogs become reactive because they run over to the wrong dog and disaster happens. Single learning experience. Remember that. It takes one shit experience for your dog to change its personality. One shit experience for your dog to lose trust in you forever. Affection is a major part of bonding between you and the dog. However, here are 3 times that you should not be giving your dog affection. 1, when they are eating. When they are eating, that is not the time to go over and start stroking your dog, hugging your dog, giving them affection. They have affection in terms of the food and they should be left alone. Especially children, they shouldn't be near the dog. 2, you should not be giving your dog affection when they're asleep. After exercise, when they're taking themselves to their crate, to their bed, that is not the time to be giving your dog affection. That is the time for them to sleep. Children, leave dogs alone when they're sleeping. And finally, if your dog is meeting another dog, okay, and they're sniffing each other, do not give that dog do not give your dog affection. When you stroke a dog and it's meeting another dog, you interrupt the natural process of them greeting. You can also quickly create jealousy and conflict. The dog can start to see you as a resource. The other thing is, if your dog gets tense in that moment, you miss it because you're stroking your dog, but also anything that touches the dog in that moment, they can associate it's coming from the other dog and react and panic. There's so much time throughout the day where you can stroke your dog. These 3 times, just don't. Leave them alone, especially kids. Okay, so you hold it how you normally hold a lead. You think this gives you more control, yeah? So this is how a typical person will hold a lead. Yeah, I'm a dog. Right? Yeah? Right, now hold it how I showed you. Round your thumb. Yeah, lock it off. You're not moving hard. I'm having to really struggle to get you to move.
Some bitch.
Oh, no, it's not, because you took you off your feet when you had it round you the other way. The point is, it's a psychological thing you've got to get through. Holding a lead correctly, you're not going to break your fingers, you're not going to get rope burn, and you have more control than you think. Wrapping it around your hand so you're attached to it like dear life doesn't give you as much control as you think. You get rope burn, it's painful, you can injure yourself, and you don't have as much control as you think.
Hey, it's friendly.
That's what I'm banking on. Let's go. Dog thefts are rife right now. Once I have the dog on the lead, there is nothing she can do. Oh my God, so you start moving towards your dog, look, but where's the dog going? Right, and dogs are quicker than us. Responsible owners use long lines. And now, Angel, come here. Good girl, darling. Good girl. Yeah? But if I didn't have this long line on, what would have happened is she would have got over to the other person. She would have learned that when I call her, she doesn't have to listen. And she'll learn to run over to other dogs just to see what's going on. Then she runs over to the wrong dog and she gets in trouble. Now we know this dog, so what we do is go, now we've got our dog, come on in, Angel, let's go and play. Yeah, so we let them go and meet. It's not about not letting dogs meet, it's about making sure you can stop your dog running over to something. And if you completely unclip the lead, you do not have that control yet. That lead stays on until you don't have to step on it. Golden Retriever, Labrador Retriever, Greyhound. The Golden Retriever is the epitome of a gentle, sociable dog. Great for active families, highly intelligent. The Labrador is very similar to that of the Golden Retriever as well. Avoid working lines if you're a first-time dog owner. Nothing wrong with a working line dog. If you're going to work it, the clue is in the title. You want something more from show lines. And the Greyhound is great for the elderly or lazy people. It's super sensitive. There's a shit ton in rescue. Most of them are in rescue because they weren't good enough for racing, or they've served their purpose and now the selfish bastard wants to get rid of them. Most of them are in rescue through no fault of their own, so consider a rescue with a Greyhound. Greyhounds are fantastic dogs. These are my top 3. Things you should not do when you meet a nervous dog for the first time. Crouch down to their level. If you crouch down to a dog's level and you move, or that dog panics and it lunges at you, it's going to grab the money maker. It's just not worth it. Holding your hand out for the dog to sniff. This is a species that can detect your time of the month. This is a species that can sniff cancer. They don't need that in their face. It's actually very threatening. Looks like you're trying to touch them, okay? Eyes. Do not stare at the dog. And no, you're not a dog expert. It doesn't matter how many dogs you've had in your lifetime. The owner knows their dog more than you, right? So if they tell you their dog's nervous, don't go, oh, it's okay, I love dogs. Don't start baby talking the dog. That makes them more concerned, okay? Don't think you know better than the owner. If the dog approaches you, that doesn't mean it wants to be touched. It means it's got the confidence to approach you, to sniff you, to find out information. Touching that dog in that moment, it's going to think you're a complete it's going to hate you for that and can snap at you. Let it use its nose, and then you can see how the dog feels about you. Does it sniff you and walk away? If so, that dog wasn't interested. You touching it, you didn't give that dog an opportunity to let you know. If that dog sniffs you and sits next to you, it's generally quite comfortable with you. So a low hand on their chest or on the backside, not their face. Don't touch them on top of the head. That's a very threatening act. Nervous dogs, what you need to know. Right, ask him to sit. Right, get him to sit. Right, but this fine. Right, take your time. Right, take one step forward. Walk back and do exactly the same thing again. This time, deep breath. You're in front of him. Yep. When you hear him, enough.
Enough.
That's it. What happens? You see a man walking towards you, you preempt he's going to react, you fumble about, yeah? He's in front of you, he's all over the place, he reacts. You stand in front of him, he starts to grumble, enough, he goes, lays down. Suddenly, if your dog understands what this is, then you can help with dog reactivity. Nearly every dog, before it reacts, will let you know it's going to react. They don't normally just explode. They see a dog, they'll start to slow down, they might stop panting and shut their mouth, their body posture will stiffen, that tail might start to slow down or even start to come up or hackles. Your dog gives you ample warning, but what happens is we wait for that dog to react before we start to communicate. So do this. Every time your dog sees the dog, before it reacts, click, click, reward your dog. Click, click, reward your dog. What this is going to do is your dog's going to look at a dog, then look at you. You're changing how your dog sees the other dog. Now, so we don't get fixation from the dog, what we want to do is once they get used to doing this, looking at the dog, looking at you for the reward, that's when they look at the dog, look at you, click, click, reward. Look at the dog, look at you, click, click, reward. So we're not rewarding fixation. We can then start to build up the duration. Look at a dog, look at you, 1, 2, 3, click, click, reward. You can do this over parks, over fields, at pets at home car park. Anything your dog's reacted to. Create some space, click, click, reward. Game changer. If you feed your dog from one of these every day and you get yourself one of these, a clicker, you can get your dog to listen to you, no questions asked. What you do, instead of feeding your dog from this, you put the contents of this in a treat pouch in the morning. Then every single time the dog does something you like, you do this and you give some of this to your dog. Ask it to sit. If it does it, you give some of that to your dog. Your dog's food drive will come out exponentially. Your dog's motivation on you will come out exponentially. Always being in a position to reward your dog will create motivation and will reinforce those behaviours that you're looking for. Anytime the dog does something you like or something you ask, use this. If you're going on a walk, get a front clip harness, get a normal collar, a double clip lead, walk with your dog. If it goes in front, change direction. When the dog's where it should be, click, click, reward. Go in front a little bit, dog goes in front, click, click, reward. When you call the dog back to you, as soon as it starts to come back to you, click, click, reward. If your dog whines, wait for it to stop whining. Click, click, reward. Click, click, reward. If your dog sees another dog, as soon as it sees the dog before it reacts, click, click, reward. Your dog will start looking at the dog, looking at you. Click, click, reward. Teach your dog what this means. Stop feeding your dog from a bowl. Thank me later, because this is how you get any dog to listen to you.
How to teach any dog to stop pulling. Step 1.
Yep. I mean, this just isn't. Get that.
Get the dog's attention by playing the find the treat game. Step 2. Teach the dog what the lead means. Lead pressure means slow down, give in to the pressure, get a reward. No longer does it mean pull more. Step 3. Spatial awareness. Left turns and right turns make the dog more aware of you and slows them down.
That's what
Lose lead. Nice walking accomplished in less than 10 minutes.
Your alarm's going off.
Oh, he's bonking it.
Fuck's sake, man.
Get the shit out of me.
Huge toilet training mistake. When your dog has an accident, rubbing their nose in their own feces. That's disgusting, that's degrading, that's animal abuse. When a dog does something, you have about 3 seconds to actually correct and or reward them for that in order for it to take effect. Anything that happens after that, the dog has no idea what happened. So, if your dog has an accident and you're watching them, you don't rub their nose in their feces, you rub your nose in it, because you was paying attention to your dog, yet you still missed the signs your dog was going to go to the toilet, and now you want to punish the dog for your fucking stupidity. Cut that shit out. Now, if you go to bed and come down and the dog's had an accident and you scold the dog for that, the dog has no idea that it's because it had an accident. The dog sees you as an angry, unpredictable person. With toilet training, you take your dog out regularly, you let the dog know where you want them to be, you reinforce them heavily, and you pay attention to your dog. If you're out walking and an off-lead dog comes charging over to you, do not back away. The second you back away, you instantly become prey, which then drives the predatory animal to become much more dangerous in that moment. Do not run away. Why even bother? You're not going to outrun a 4-legged animal. Hell, even a dog with 3 legs is faster than you. You're not going to outrun it. All you do when you try to outrun a dog is you trigger that prey drive of the predatory animal, and you're at much higher risk of getting bitten. Nearly every dog on the planet understands what sit means. It's one of the first things people teach a dog. If a dog comes charging over to you, sit! If it doesn't sit, it's going to walk away. 9 out of 10 dogs, when they charge over to you, it's a bluff. It's driven from insecurity, yeah? They're not actually dangerous at this moment. They're dangerous the second you back away, so remember that. And if a dog's going to bite you, as I said, it's going to bite you regardless. You just have less chance of getting bit when you stand your ground.
It's okay.
Now you're trying to tell him it's okay.
He doesn't want it.
Well, no, he doesn't know what that means.
Oh.
Actions speak louder than words. Reality is, if he knew what it's okay meant, he wouldn't be here in the first place. Because anytime the dog gets afraid, just tell him it's okay, and they'll be like, oh, okay, fine, I get it. But what happens is you go very soft. It's like, come on, mate, come on, please come to... And the dog gets suspicious of you. He's like, well, why are you going like that? Because 9 times out of 10, when it's you and the dog, you're like, come here, come on, mate, let's have fun. But then when he gets nervous, you go, come on. And the dog's like, what the f***? going on? Why are you freaking out? Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then just bring him in. Just say, come on, mate. There you go. See the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah? As soon as you stop flustering and messing around, he comes and joins the party. But if you're acting suspicious, he's like, well, what the But then we still just completely, you can fuss him, that's fine. If you want your dog to stop whining, stop giving them what they want when they are whining. If your dog's whining for attention and you give your dog attention, your dog's going to whine every time it wants attention. If your dog's in the crate and it's whining and you go and let him out, it's going to whine every time it's in the crate to be let out. If you stop and your dog starts whining and you move on, the dog will whine every time you stop. What you have to do is teach the dog that silence is golden. If the dog's whining at you for attention, send it to its bed. Not aggressively, not angrily. When it settles down, call it back to you, give it a stroke. If you stop and your dog's whining, wait for a pause of at least 3 seconds. Silence is golden, then move on. Teach your dog being quiet is what gets them to move on. Anxiety is a major issue in dogs right now. Dogs, if you think a little bit of whining is bad now, imagine what it's going to be like in 6 months, in a year, when you can't even go out with friends or family because your dog can't be left alone. When you can't go somewhere new without your dog whining. When you can't stop to talk to someone without your dog whining. Nip it in the bud now. This is a glass of Skittles. Nobody would be surprised if you fed your children this as a main staple, if they developed health and behavioural problems. This is a well-known dog food brand, definitely not Baker's. Feeding your dog this, don't be surprised if they end up with allergies, health problems and behavioural problems. Just like with children and adults, diet plays a lot in health temperament. When I actually looked at the ingredients of this multicoloured Skittles for dogs, 55% of the food is made up of cereal. 15% of it is actually meat and animal derivative, not even a proper meat. If your dog's misbehaving and you're feeding them Skittles, don't be surprised.